Welcome to the Javier Mendez Podcast. And here we are. Javier is back in San Jose with his team, training Usman. Got an interesting fight card to talk about coming up this weekend. How are things with you, Javier?
Things are good. Just a little jet lag. People that have traveled long know jet lag is it's hard to adjust. And I have insomnia to boot, so it's triple for me. So
I'm on the same team. I'm like waiting to get that nap that's going to recharge me, but I never get to it, and I don't take the nap because I know it's not going to do anything.
It's not good. Traveling sucks.
So what is it like to be back and seeing the team and seeing what your son's doing and Ron Kessler and what the guys have done since you've taken off for a while?
Well, it's nice to know we're still here, and we still have some good coming up, up and coming prospects, and Khabib joined the team yesterday. And,
right on.
It was great to have him here run the squad. He even ran the wrestling, and he made fun of DC on a group chat. He said, "Hey, look who's not here," and he pointed to DC's picture on the wall, running. Because Khabib was running the wrestling. Khabib can do it all. He can do it all. He can do the talks. He can do the technique. You name it. He can do it all now.
Well, that must be a bit of a charge. So a bunch of people showing up to the gym. They're like, Khabib's here, like boom. Or do they know?
They kind of get word about it now. So a lot of the guys that don't really train like they need to show up because they know he's here, type of thing, So it's always a full house when he's around.
That's funny. That's like, we heard you're in town. We're gonna pretend like we've been training hard the whole time. I'm gonna show up.
Yeah.
How is Usman looking? Was he helping train Umar for his fight too, or?
Yeah, he was training for his fight. No, he wasn't really helping Umar per se. He's too big for Umar, but he was morally supporting him like they always do. And I'm sure Umar's going to be in his corner come fight time. I think Umar's coming to support him also. So, I mean, those guys, they're brothers, and they stick with each other no matter what. That's the beautiful thing about all my Dagestani guys is, loyalty, brotherhood. It's all real.
Well, I've seen a lot of podcasts since our last one, because once we do one, it's like Javier's everywhere. There's like 10 podcasts with Javier, which is awesome. I'm glad to see it. But I've seen some of the stuff that you were talking about, and I didn't ask these questions, because these guys are really coming dialed in, and I know you. I'm like, oh, I didn't ask that sharp of a question on them. But I did see Islam saying something like he could see Usman eventually being the UFC champion, even though he's in Bellator. What would he do if that happened? Would he vacate? Would he move up? Middleweight champ? I mean, hypothetically, this is ways away. It's not happening right
now. Well, let's just look at hypothetically. Yeah, when Islam moves up, then you could see that possibility happening. But hypothetically, let's look at the realistic thing on hand. And he's got a contract with Bellator. I don't think he's unhappy with Bellator. So let's see what happens when the contract ends. Bellator has been really good to him, and he's been really good to Bellator. So we may never see him in the UFC. It's one of those deals that, let's see what happens. The contracts dictate what's going on. If the marriage is good, they stays with each other. If it's not, they separate, So I don't think Usman's thinking about going to the UFC so much as he's thinking about defending his title, because
right.
He's got a very tough opponent in front of him, and Shelby. So Alejandro is Alexander. Sorry, Alejandro. Alexander. He's no joke, man. He's very, very, very talented in every aspect of the MMA game. Smart, good everywhere. Good kicking, good grappling. You name it. Shelby has it. So we have a tough task ahead of us to begin with. So, but in a hypothetical situation, like you're saying, I went off track.
I know, but we'll go back to what you were saying too.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's hypothetically it would be cool. He comes in with Islam is going out, or Islam goes up in weight, or something like that. Most of these guys have it in their head after 35, they're mostly all going to retire. The vast majority of them more retire. Islam's 32, so he's got 3 more good years. After that, I don't expect to see Islam continue the fighting. So let's just say he got into the UFC because his Bellator contract right now, they didn't negotiate properly, or the UFC came up with a better number, and then he happens to get in hypothetically. And then, by the time he gets in that position where he can fight for a title, more than likely Islam would already be out anyway. So we're talking years down the line, and by that time Islam will be out, so it won't be a problem.
What's the Islam had mentioned he was more interested in fighting the BMF title holder,
Max
from
Holloway.
Hawaii, Max Holloway, than people he's already beat, which I understand his point. But someone's like, I'm gonna really get you this time. And that's kind of like how he's treating it, like, I beat you, next, and he wants to try something new for his own experience and his own, like, look, I went through these different people and I
and rightfully so. When you're the champion, you want to fight who you want to fight, but when the organization only offers you this person, you either take the fight or you don't. And if you don't, then they move up your contract, gets delayed in advance, et cetera. So you really don't have much of a choice, to be honest with you. If they want you to fight one person, you should fight that person. You're the challenger. You're the champion. Whoever is in there to fight for the title is the person you should fight. That's what they're going to offer. That's who you fight. So ultimately, I believe that's what Islam's going to do. Whoever they offer him, he's gonna fight. He's not gonna choose. But if you're asking him who he wants, yeah, give me the BMF title. Why not? But don't give me the title. Just give me the opponent.
Yeah, he wants something interesting.
The title doesn't mean nothing to me either. I mean, just the opponent means something. Max Holloway is something. The title is not.
He's not playing with people. He's not trying to hide. He's like, show me something. And I understand that. I don't think fans always understand that necessarily. I mean, unless you've been around it, it's like you to think, like, what's the fighter thinking? And he's like, oh, more money, more things. Like, he's not making a demand for Conor or anything like that. He's just like, give me the best competitor. That's what it seems like to me on the outside.
Well, he just wants challenges, and look, listen, you're a prize fighter. What's the ultimate goal?
The prize.
So you can't tell me that Islam is going to say no to $100 million or $20 million payday. He's not.
Yeah, he'll show up for that one.
You're foolish to, So you're in that situation. You're a prize fighter. You fight for money. I know some champions that went into a fight because of the money, not because they were ready. It's just because the money was too good to pass up.
Yeah.
DC in generally was in that situation where money was offered and he took the money. It's their decision. You can't say don't do it. I'm mad at you for doing that. Hey, they know they're big boys. They know what they're doing. They want to take a fight because they're making good money. Then they take the fight. That's why it's called prize fighting, right?
Well, also back to him too. It's less than likely that he's going to move up a weight class now because his friend's holding the title at 170.
Yeah. I would really probably say that's 100% off the question that he would ever fight Belal, and Belal would ever want to fight him. I don't think that's even a consideration. So yeah, Belal is there. He's won the title, and I don't think there's an interest for Islam to go to that situation anymore. If anything, like I mentioned on somebody else, someone said, "What about 185?" I go, well. I'm sure if Islam wanted to go to 185, he'd have to put on some weight first, because he's undersized for not undersized for a welterweight. He's a little small for the most welterweights, but he's not undersized. For a middleweight, he's undersized, so he'd have to put on some muscle.
We'd have to take him to the diner with us over by the AKA.
Yeah, he'd have to put on some weight, and then he would do it. But I don't know if he's even interested in going for 185. We never discussed it. So
that's a big jump. I mean, think of yourself or myself or anybody, whoever's hearing us. Imagine going up 20 pounds and more muscle than fat added to your body. That's a lot of work. And not being a bodybuilder, just functional fitness muscle. That's really hard to add. That doesn't, and they say you can add 3 or 4 pounds a year.
It's hard, but it's not impossible. It's not impossible. There's people that have gone up enormous amount of weight and they win, There's some fighters that are just really that
John
good.
Jones.
Like, look, Frankie Edgar. That guy could have been fighting at 135, even 125 when he first started his UFC career, because that guy's so little. Look what he did. He's one of the greatest lightweights in the UFC history, And here's a guy that could have started as a flyweight, then went up to bantamweight, then featherweight. Frankie Edgar could have killed all those weights had they had him when he was champ, but they really didn't really have him at the time when he was climbing up the ranks. There was only a 155er, that's what he was, 155. But when I met him in his second UFC fight, he came to train with us. And Frankie was walking into the gym 152, 153.
Wow.
Walking into the gym, okay, not fight week, not this week. No, walk into the gym. Well, I'm 152, 153, or on that.
Leaving it 150 after workout.
Or less, or under one. I mean, he was undersized. You could tell he was this tiny guy,
Mm-hmm.
And he did. BJ Penn, another one that was not necessarily a big guy who went up in weight, and
205 once.
BJ could have done the same thing. He could have been, a featherweight. Maybe he could have done a bantamweight. I'm not sure about bantamweight for him, but because Frankie was smaller. But BJ could have gone probably, a featherweight, lightweight, and welterweight, like he did win the welterweight. Remember, he won the welterweight. So BJ could have been a three division champion for sure. So it can happen. It's just, not everybody is, can do that.
I thought he fought a guy at like light heavyweight or something.
Yeah, he did. He fought Machida
in Pride over in Japan, right?
I think it was K1 or Pride, one of those. But he fought Machida. I think it was Pride. I think you're right. It was Pride.
Wow. Those are crazy. Did you ever go to any of the Pride fights?
Yes.
In Japan or?
Yes, I was there.
What did you think about that experience?
They run an incredible show. K1. The first one I went to was K1, and first big giant one I was Frank Shamrock fought Sinisic. For
Elvis,
modern MMA. First MMA bout was with Frank Shamrock and Elvis Sinisic. And it was in front of, I think, 74,000 people.
Wow.
Crazy. It was just unbelievable at the Tokyo Dome. And maybe I'm wrong about the amount of people, but it was full capacity. I thought it was 74,000. Maybe it was 53,000. I'm not sure. Place was packed. And the show was unbelievably organized, incredibly organized, crazy organized.
It was interesting to me. The first K1s was Pat Smith got wasted by this guy called Stan the Man in kickboxing. He was the one that was destroying people, elbowing them on the head on the ground in the first early UFCs. Next thing he goes, yeah, I'll go over to K1, whip all your butts. All of a sudden, no, just one iron kickboxer kick. Oh my gosh, floored the guy. So K1 was some serious stuff, but then they started mixing it up, I guess, too. I went to one where they did both.
Pride was more the ones that were mixing it up. K1 didn't do too much of the mix-up. They did a little bit, but it was more Pride. Pride was the one that did that. K1 kind of more stuck to their thing, but it was Pride that came in and started doing all the MMA stuff.
They bring in Bob Sapp, or they bring in some 500-pound guy to fight a light heavyweight or a lightweight. It was amazing. I enjoyed that. Usman, he's getting ready to fight a really now. You said Shabli. I think that's how we say his name. I always call him Shabili. I probably said it wrong. Shabli. So he's a hell of a fighter. That's a great test and a great competition. Any special training, not to give away any secrets, but I'm just asking in general, is there any special moves being looked at or game plan for this kind of guy?
He's a complete fighter. I mean, I don't know what else to say. He's a complete fighter in every department. So
no secret tricks.
No secret tricks. We have our hands cut out in front of us, and they do too. So it's going to be one of those deals, or let's see what happens comes fight time. Let's see what fighter's ready to take control. And I feel we are. I feel Usman's going to show why I consider him, the great one, to come. Not now, but he's to come. He's a great one to come. So, give him more wins like this, and that's going to put him in that pinnacle. What I'm talking about. This is the start. Being someone like Shelby is the start of being recognized as a top tier champion, and he will be recognized as a top tier champion. But we have to get by Shelby first before any of that kind of talk can start.
He basically he's fighting. How can I put this? I mean, Shelby and him. It's just like who's ready to show up that day. I guess that's the best way you could say it. They're both pretty well matched. It's not
pretty well matched. Both. The only difference is one's younger than the other, but Shelby's not that old either. I think he's 31, if that. He might be 29 or 31. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but he's up there. Usman's 25. So
youngest champ from the Khabib camp. The youngest champ from the Khabib camp is Usman.
Usman. Yeah.
That was so quick. You introduced me to him, and the next thing I know, he was champ. I was like, hey, this is the boom. He was there. That was quick, man. So we get this card coming up. Let's see if I can share this. Let me look for my little screen share thing here. Okay, so this is what we get going on this weekend, and maybe we'll go down a couple of notches on it. don't know if you can see it, but okay, so let's start here. Li Jingliang versus Carlos Pratis.
Yeah.
What do you think about this one? It looks like they're favoring Carlos, but Chinese guys have been doing pretty good lately. People out of China. What do you think is going to go on?
I don't know. I've never seen Carlos Pratis fight, believe it or not. So I have zero idea. But I'll go with Li Jing just because I don't know the other guy.
Okay, so you've met Li before, huh?
No, but I've seen him, but I've never seen Carlos.
Okay. Now we know this guy, Tai Tuivasa. We have a great video of him eating tacos out in front of AKA. And Jairzinho Rosenstrike. And
I don't go against my guys. I love Tai, but we got a rough road. That's a rough road. I have to go with Tai. That's just the way I am. I got to go with Tai, but we have a rough one.
Yeah, I think Jairzinho was killing it. Like he looked like the pre version of Ngannou. Like he was going to be he was showing up before Ngannou really started catching fire, right?
Yeah.
And then somehow in the middle he gets stifled by some people that figured him out or something. And then so he's kind of on his way back. Ty's had moments where he shined, but he's always got a chance no matter who it is.
Ty's thing is mostly stand up. He's not been a ground guy whatsoever ever. And now he's meeting a guy that has more stand up experience than him. So it's a tough one, I mean, like I said, I can't go against Tai, even if I can't go against him. So
I understand what you're saying. So that's who Hobbs going for. We're not putting you bets here. We're putting what we want.
Yeah,
exactly.
Just I want Tai to win. That's all.
Well, I know that you want Mateus to win this one because this guy talks so much smack about AK.
For sure, definitely. But on this one, on the every other level, Gamrot's going to beat him anyways. So yeah, Gamrot beats him in every aspect of it. I feel,
even despite all the crap he threw around during all the fights.
Yeah, on the fight level, I would put my money on Gamrot.
Yeah, I think I'm going with Gamrot over Dan Hooker definitely. And then Kai Kara France versus Steve Urseg. Steve's an interesting, mysterious fellow, and Kai Kara France has, I think, really great stand-up. I think Urseg might favor submissions, possibly. I forget.
I know Kai. I've seen Kai fight quite a few times. I've never seen Steve Urseg fight one time, so I can't really comment.
I think they had him headline on one of those ESPN cards once.
Yeah, Steve Urseg fought for the title against the champ, and he lost. I didn't see it, so I don't know. He's got to be good.
He's got to be good. They're both fighting for the spot here, so that's what
let's see. May the best man win.
Dricus Duplessis versus Israel Adesanya, one of your favorites. Oh, this is going to be interesting. The guy beat the guy that beat the guy. So what do you think? How does this play out?
The longer it stands, the more chance Adesanya wins. The motivated Adesanya is hard to beat. Who are we going to get, though? Are we going to get a motivated Adesanya, or are we going to get the Adesanya that lost the title?
Mm-hmm.
That got caught and all of a sudden could never get going, because when he lost the title, he lost the title. He didn't win one round. I had Sean Strickland just beat him from pillar to pillar in every department. So he just wasn't there. And then, if we see the guy that came back, that got Pereira the second time around, when he knocked out Pereira, when he was mentally focused, I don't know. And we got something. So I don't know which guy's going to show up. If he's that motivated guy, don't count him out against anybody. But
isn't that a weird circle? So Pereira knocked the hell out of Sean Strickland, goes out and beats, goes back and beats Izzy. Then Izzy gets him. I don't know if it happened this sequence exactly, but anyways, these fights happen. And then Izzy makes a comeback against Pereira, who goes up to light heavyweight and wins the title there. And, it's like ultimately there's more fights won by Pereira over Izzy. And I think statistically it would continue that way, in my opinion, just because of what I've seen their fight styles. So now you get a guy that got run over by Sean Strickland and Izzy, and a guy that was, gritting it out, but doing better than Izzy was against Sean Strickland. So it's a weird measuring stick how styles make fights here, right?
Yeah, listen, the Sean Strickland fight, could have gone easily to Sean's way if he just would just gave a little bit more output. Sean just starts too late. If he would just start a little bit earlier and put on the steam like he does, he could have easily won that fight against Dricus, but he didn't. He started in my opinion, started too late. So he was too far out, in my opinion. He didn't step on the gas, and he's a guy that is very tricky to figure out, But for Alex Pereira, who's a master striker, he wasn't too hard, because if you're not going to take me down, which Sean wasn't, is going to do stand up. You eventually, with someone like Alex's power, you're going to run into problems. But then you got an Izzy that he went with, and he figured Izzy out, and Izzy couldn't do nothing to him, and he hurt Izzy. So, so styles, and one's got enormous power, and therefore it's hard to deal with, and that's what happened. The other one is very more technical, which is Izzy. And look what Sean did with him. So, but he looked to me like he was not as motivated. That's all I'm saying. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
It's hard to pull that one. It's just like when Leon Edwards just went out under Bilal. It's like it went different than everyone anticipated, even like you said. People show up, right?
Yeah, I didn't expect that. And I'm so happy Bilal won because it was a beautiful thing. And listen, for me, it was Palestine won, and that was a great victory because this guy's been promoting Palestine since 2017 when I first saw him, walking around with pride, So this man, he had a big mission and something big that he wanted to prove, to prove all those doubters, including me. I was one of them too. I thought he could do it, but I thought he needed Khabib.
I thought he was channeling Khabib. When I look at that fight, the pressure, I'm not saying style, the pressure was Khabib pressure.
We talked to him. I told him what he needed to do. He needed to make it a dirty fight. He needed to be in his face and continue to use his wrestling. Yeah, we told him that, but his corner told him the same thing. Yeah. So
just hearing it twice is nice. You're like, okay, good. We get all the approval.
It's good, but his people were telling them the same thing. So it isn't like we did something spectacular. Him being with the camp, yeah, that was something really good that he benefited from. But he was with his team his whole. How many years was he with Mike Valley? How many years was he with Lou? He was with those guys a while, and those guys, Khabib helped more than any of us, more than me for sure. All I would do was say, "Good job." But I wasn't giving him tactical advice. I only told him one time that, hey, you got to make it a dirty fight. You got to be in his face. When he was training with us, that's what I was telling him. That's what he had to do. But by no means was I, coaching him. No, Khabib was, yes, but not me.
Yeah. So how is Khabib like? Is he like in being back? He's just running the guys hard. They're like, Coach Khabib's here, serious time.
It's always serious time with him. It's very strict, very disciplined. When he's around, you don't screw around. Everybody jumps in line. Everybody works. That's the way his father ran practice. That's the way he runs practice, and he's always going to continue to do that. That's his style. That they love that style. And to be honest with you, there is no better style than that particular regiment, the type of style of training. There is none. You want to be something as a team, you got to train that way. If you don't train that way, then I'm sorry. You're not going to make it. You have to be regimented like that.
Well, I think it was Eric Nixick or Ngannou's coach, right? He said he get invited. There's an article, or he was talking on a YouTube video that he could invite. He asked Khabib if he could watch him train the guys over at the PI in Las Vegas. And he said he was just so impressed and so like, wow, how regimented and how professional it was conducted compared to what he's seen in some other gyms. So I don't know what's going on in other gyms, but
other gym that does that is we do it here. We've been doing that for a long time, but we're just a teeny bit more relaxed than him. But we run it that way too. If you come in here and you watch DC's wrestling when DC was coaching here, it was very disciplined, very strict. And most of the time, I'm in the cage watching the sparring. So every so often when I come back and I see this guy screwing around, I cuss them all out. So I've gotten mad at quite a few times. A few times I got mad at the whole team for laying around, not doing nothing. I don't like that kind of training. That's not training. When you're team training, you better be in team training. If you're hurt or something, then sit and watch, but don't be screwing around, not during team training. I never will allow that. That should never happen. When you're in team training, it's team training. And if you're not going to, be an asset, then see yourself out the door or come back another day when you can be an asset to the team, So that's the attitude you have to have. And we can't ever change that, because we change that, then we're not a team anymore. Then it's everybody out for themselves. So we never want to be in that position. And, Khabib is very, very strict about that type of procedure. And his father before him was, very military style. I'm not military style, but I'm that style. You better work.
It's interesting. So do you have any other upcomers, like anybody that you're seeing since you showed back up? Like, we get some guys that might be making a splash on a couple of different shows, or anything going on with AKA guys right now?
There's Muhammad Al-Arak. He's fighting in the MENA tournament. He's in the semifinals. He'll be fighting September 18th in Saudi Arabia. So I'll be there for that one. I think I'm going to be there. Pretty sure. No, the 20th. Sorry, I think it's the 20th. I think it's the 18th or the 20th. My birthday is the 18th. I think the 20th is the fight. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to his fight. And then I see, let's see. There's quite a few. Amaru, who's the UAE Warriors champion. He's Team Khabib. He's with me too. I train him. He's defending his title, I think, in December. He's another great up-and-coming prospect. I expect him to be probably coming to the UFC at some point down the line, or PFL or Bellator. Big league. We'll probably 1 or 2 more fights. You'll see Amaru in the big league for sure. And Muhammad too, same thing. Well, I think he's going to win that tournament, I believe. Once he wins that tournament, he's going to be with the PFL or Bellator. So Muhammad's already in one of them. So that's already going to happen. But he's an up-and-coming guy, and he'll be the first Arab star. He's going to be the first Arab star. Actually, in my opinion, I'm predicting he's going to be an Arab superstar. In the last show he performed, he came out there like a superstar. And, for the little bit of fans that were there, they got all jazzed up when he went out there and he performed. This kid is something special. And people that don't know about him, watch him in the MENA fight, for the Saudi Arabia for the PFL. This kid is special.
Speaking of PFL, now I know that Ngannou announced that he's going to be coming back, and he's fighting a giant of a man. I don't know if you've ever seen this guy fight. This guy's a monster. He ran through Ryan Bader like he was nothing, and Ryan Bader beat Fedor, but then it was older Fedor, but still. This guy, Renan Ferreira, is like 6'8".
Oh,
like
wow.
gigantor, man.
Yeah,
wow. So he's like 4 inches on Ngannou. And when he fought Bader, he like dwarfed, like he was like so big. He's like grabbing this little man and just like knocking him out. So
wow, that's a pretty big guy. And I know he knocked out Bader, and it was the Bellator versus the PFL, and everybody from Bellator won except Bader. But I expected everybody to win from the PFL. I thought
you meant Bellator?
Bellator. Sorry, I thought all the Bellator champions would win because I thought Bellator had the tougher, more talent, and I was right. And Bader, he's a light heavy. They went to heavyweight. I mean, there you go.
You don't go light heavyweight against Gigantor. I'm sorry, that's how I'm calling this guy. 6'8", 260.
Who's to know what would have happened had he not got caught though? Maybe Bader would have steamrolled the guy too. I don't know.
Just looking at the power differential when I watched it.
Oh yeah, power differential. Yeah,
it was just like roar, just hold the guy around.
You got a guy that big, but how good is when he's going with Ngannou? He's going to have someone that's going to match or exceed his power.
Right.
So now what has he got? He's not going to have a gigantic size advantage. I mean, isn't Ngannou 6'5" or 6'4"?
6'4".
Okay, 6'4" against 6'8". That's still.
It's almost like fighting the Gypsy King again, but in MMA.
Yeah. So this is size advantage for the opponent, but I don't know. I really don't know. I look at Ngannou as not a complete MMA fighter either. Like he's good, but he's super athletic, but he's not like a great ground guy or anything like that. Never has been a great ground guy. But let's see if this Brazilian guy is Brazilian, right?
Brazilian guy, yeah, Renan.
If he has a good ground game, if he has a good takedown, ability. Let's see what happens. I don't know.
Who's going to get to roll with you at 6'8"? Hey, come roll with me. Oh, I lost you down there. Where are you? You need a whole other body to armbar that guy. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, let's see. I mean, it's a very interesting fight, right? I mean, Ngannou being involved in a pay-per-view event, it's a smart move on PFL. If they're going to make some dent into pay-per-view, but how big are they going to make a dent? I don't know. Let's see. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be a big giant pay-per-view event. It might be. I don't know.
You went to Saudi Arabia for one of the fights, right? Recently?
Yeah, the MENA fight, the beginner where Mohammed won. Mo Al-Araki won.
How did you like Saudi Arabia?
It's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. You can tell they're doing a lot of building over there. They're doing massive events over there. I mean, boxing is becoming Saudi Arabia. They're owning boxing. They're doing everything. I think, 6 years, 3 years, every year you go down there, every month you go down there, you're going to see something happening over there because they're spending an enormous amount of money on rebuilding the whole country, and they have the money to do it. So they're inviting everything and bringing all the best of the world has to offer. So at one point or another, everybody will be talking about Saudi Arabia. But for right now, they're in the building phases right now, and they're going to control boxing, I believe. I think they already have for the vast majority of it, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And then
they're rolling with it.
They're going on golf, and then probably NASCAR, and probably who knows what else. I mean, they have a limited budget, so let's see what they can do. I mean, they're doing something right. They're spending money for sure.
Hey, they're making things happen that we can't do that. We don't have enough money. Well, that's not a problem anymore. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, okay. We jumped the shark on that one instantly. Here's that fight you thought could never happen for 5 years. It's going to happen tomorrow. That's what I like. That's what I like about it. Right?
They can do that. They can do that. They have the resources to do that. And let's see what happens. I mean, so far, that's so good, right? And they have boxing on the wraps, I think.
And if you guys are listening to our podcast and you want to start something, Javier and I would love to advise you on starting an NFL league in Saudi Arabia. Even though we're not really about football, we would be for the right idea. I think it'd be great.
For the right money, right?
Yeah, we're out there. What do you do, Len and Hub? I don't know. Just do it. Yeah, do it. That'd be our advice. Well, anything else going on with you, Hub? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, nothing. Just that. Next week we have a few fighters fighting, and Enrique Barzola is fighting on the 23rd of August next week. He's fighting, in the PFL, and then we got a few other Team Khabib members fighting, and I think this week Gaji's fighting in the semifinals or the finals of the PFL $1 million tournament.
Oh, good.
Team Khabib. There's quite a few Team Khabib guys in PFL. Some I train, some I don't. So a lot of people sometimes they get confused whether it's me training all of them. I don't train all of them. There's only if you see me in their corner, more than likely, no, 100% is because I do train them. If I'm not in the corner, there's a chance I don't train them. Not 100% chance, but there's a good chance I don't train them. But there's a lot of Team Khabib guys. There are a whole bunch. I train some. I don't train all. And I work the corners of the ones that I do train. And Khabib wants me to work the corner. I work the corner. But, it's like sometimes people will say, well, I'm just a mentor. I'm a mentor, yes, but I'm also a coach, and I've been the head coach, and I am the head coach. But when I do what I do, I let somebody else run things. I don't bark at nobody. If Khabib runs a great program, I let him do it. When I'm here, Ron Kessler runs the AK program. Fantastic. Let him run it. Cain Velasquez decides he wants to let him run it. I fit in what I want to fit in. I don't, I want to help everybody grow. I don't want to stop anybody's growth. So I want to help them all grow. So for me, I can be behind the scenes. And that's what I do all the time. If you even notice, when the fighter's fighting and who goes in the corner after the victory, even though I'm the one that's primarily trained them the majority of it, I let them go in. I don't go in.
You're not a glory hound that way, Hov. You're a grown man. You're like, yeah.
We got the victory. That's all I care about. I don't need to be in there celebrating with them. I celebrate outside. Then I go in when I'm told to go in. When I'm not allowed to go in, then I go in. But everybody, but the thing is, I'm the most experienced too. I've been doing this forever. So I've been in cornering. So I don't get excited like everybody else when we win. I'm happy as hell, yes, but excited, super pumped and energized and the whole bit like those guys, no.
You've probably cornered the most champions in the world. That's probably a world record for MMA. Probably. I don't know, but I mean,
I don't know. It's probably, to some, yeah, maybe. I've been
that's an interesting thing. I know you don't think
about that. Longer than everybody, so that's probably a true assessment of that I've trained probably more than anybody. But I don't know. I have not really done the research, but I've been through a lot.
That's pretty awesome, Love. Well, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're enjoying California, and we'll be tune in for the next time. Javier will be bringing some more information on what's going on with the fights and leading up to it. And thanks for watching the Javier Mendez podcast. Like and subscribe. Follow Javier at AKA JAV on Instagram. And thanks for watching.